Good morning, Homestead family. So I'm going to give you a garden tour this morning after I feed the chickens, who look like they're ready for some food. Good morning, chicks. I've got to show you this one hen who just can't wait to get in the bucket. I have to show you Opie. I know Opie is a boy name, but it's the name of our silky hen, and she's sitting on eggs. The problem is she's in a pen that there's no rooster, so there's no way these eggs can be fertilized eggs, but she refuses to get off the eggs. Let me show you. There she is. Will not move. She's been there for like 3 days now. Bless her heart. I don't have the heart to tell her she's not gonna have baby chicks. I'm actually thinking about sneaking a few eggs from the other coop and taking them and putting them under her, so she might have, maybe she can hatch some babies for us. But it's springtime. She knows it's springtime. She knows that's what she's supposed to do. And I've heard that silkies are really good mamas, so I'm thinking about trying it out. I don't know. So we'll see. So this morning I wanted to share with you a few things that are going on in the garden. A lot of things happening, and I'm pretty excited about it. So I'm gonna save the biggest improvement for last, but for right now I wanted to and look at the skies. Look how stormy it looks, like it's gonna potatoes in the garden. Let me turn this around. Here's our two 15-gallon buckets of potatoes that we've planted, and we have been, we went through the process of adding soil to them. Not a lot of change in these. They're just green and growing. All the change is taking place under the ground right now, and so we're just this is just kind of a waiting game for this one. Keep them watered and that's about it. But this one has grown, and so much to the point that I think we've almost filled it to the rim. The next layer will be straw around the bottom, like we've put in these. You can see the straw there, and that just helps hold the moisture in. But that's a huge difference. I think last week we were like halfway down the bucket, so we're almost to the top and ready to put straw on there. Now I'm gonna walk over to our tomatoes. I spent quite a bit of time yesterday weeding the tomatoes. Today my goal is to prune up and tie up a little bit because they're getting so large. But I'm excited about the blooms also. Let me show you that. So there's our tomatoes, and I think you can see they are covered in blooms, and I think I counted, they're hard to see because they are sort of thick. There's two nice size, here we go, two nice size tomatoes. But I think I counted around 30 in the two beds. Just little ones. These are Romas on this side. Let me show you these. Sweet little Romas. There's some that are coming along. And then all the blooms. All the blooms. So excited. And then over in this other bed, we have the jet stars, and they are loaded as well. There's a good little patch of them right there. There's two right there. So like I said, I spent a good part of the day, not a good part, that's not true. It took me maybe 30 minutes to weed both sides of this bed. I did the other bed last week. I do need to come back now, and we did this one time, but I need to come back. Let me see if I can get this so you can see it. I need to come back and pull the dirt away from these onions because they want to grow above the ground, and you see the bulbs developing down there, so I need to come back and do that to all the onions on the outside again. But the onions are looking great as well. So that's the progress on the tomatoes. Not a lot of height growth as much as we've got so many blooms and tomatoes coming on them. We're excited about that already. Here's our next thing that I'm excited about. These are our cucumbers, and look at the blooms on the cucumbers. It's crazy. We got some good rain last weekend, and when that rain hits, you guys know there's just something about rainwater versus your own watering system. There is just, God puts so much in nutrients into the water that we don't have the knowledge, the availability to be able to put the nutrients in our water that these plants need, but He knows exactly what they need, and that's exactly what they get, and it is just exciting. Let me give you a view down the row of what's happening. So we planted 3 rows, three rows of cucumbers. We have Market More pickling cucumbers and long cucumbers. So I believe these are Market More to the left, the pickling cucumbers in the middle, and then over here on the side are the long cucumbers. I plan to do a lot of pickles, a lot of salads, so we're excited about that. And then our sweet nasturtiums down here are doing well also, coming right along. And then more nasturtiums over here on the other bed that are connected by this cattle panel. Here's blooms that we have on our peppers. These are the Bonnie green bell peppers. And then these are the sweet gypsy peppers. And they are doing so nicely. I think I'll be having to brace them up soon. And probably what I'll do is take tomato cages for these peppers. Next we have this group of 8 right here are our, still don't know yet. One is banana peppers, and this group of 8 over here is either banana peppers or nadapinos. So not sure which is which, but that's what's going on here. Our squash, if you remember in a previous video, we talked about the squash and how after we planted the seedlings, we really got some low 40s temperature, which I was so concerned about it, and we debated over whether to cover them up or just to replant if something happened to them. So far we have not replanted, and this end of the bed, strangely enough, seems to be doing better than this end of the bed, and I cannot understand, because wouldn't think temperatures from one end to the other would vary that much. But if you look, starting down here, we have the smallest, and then they gradually get larger and larger. All these were planted at the same time. They were started at the same time. I just wonder sometimes why these beds, one end sometimes will do better than others. It's happened frequently, and I don't know, unless it's the nutrients in the soil. And then here are our loofah gourd vines starting over here, and then I have a couple on the other side over there. One of our favorite vegetables that we ate last year were the purple hull peas. I grew up on purple hull peas. I remember shelling purple hull peas on the front porch with my mom and my grandma, and it's just one of those comfort things for me to have the purple hull peas. Well, last year we had one whole bed of purple hull peas, probably about I would say maybe 24 to 30 purple hull pea plants. So we loved them so much, we decided to go with 2 beds. So let me show you the progress on those. So they didn't all come out the same, like on this side was planted earlier than the purple hulls on the other side of the cattle panel, but they're still all coming along nicely. And then on this bed down here, we've planted on this side because and this was even later than the other bed because we had English peas and leeks in this garden, and then so we planted, and then I thought I had enough and I misjudged. So I have more purple hull seedlings in the greenhouse waiting to get a little bit larger. They just popped out yesterday morning, and so we will be putting those on the other side of that bed. Okay, so the biggest new thing in the garden this week would be our 2 new beds. And if you follow us, you'll know that we put out a how-to video on how we build raised beds. It's a 3-part series. 1 is the material, getting the material. 2 is actually constructing the bed, and 3 was actually how we layer the soil and nutrients in the beds for our gardens. So we have 2 of the 3 beds built. We still have 1 more to build, but we've built and planted 2 beds, and let me show you those new beds. So this one I think is Mr. Homestead's favorite bed, and we have planted sugar baby watermelons, and I think there are 7 or 8, and they look sparse right now, but watermelons, as you know, grow as a vine and run all along the ground, and so I wanted to give it lots of growing space. And this may not even be enough. It may grow out of this bed, I don't know, but that's what our plan is. So yeah, it's the sugar baby watermelons. Over in this spot, do you see that area where the soil is a little bit darker? This was our failed garden plot, and so we took the ground cover up and used it for underneath these new beds right here. And so I said, you know what, I planted some mammoth sunflower seeds yesterday, and I'll be putting those into the area where the corn didn't grow, and hopefully we can get some pretty sunflowers growing along this fence line right here. All right, so the next bed that we built and planted, and we actually just did this yesterday, is our Seminole pumpkins. And shout out to Southern Dirt for we purchased these pumpkin seeds. And one of the reasons that I wanted to get them from her was that we are both in zone 9B and very close to each other here in the state of Central Florida. And I wanted to get something that was sort of native to this area, because I knew I could get better growth out of them probably if they were from the area. So those are our 2 beds, and we have materials for more. And I have to say, I talked to my daughter yesterday, I think it was, and she was like, what are you guys doing? And I was like, we're building more beds. We're filling up beds. And she's like, more? How many do you guys need? And so right now, as it stands, we have 10 4-foot by 16-foot raised beds. And we do plan on having one more, which will give us an 11. And in the 11th bed, we will place, I've got sweet potato slips growing now and rooting, and that whole bed will be sweet potato slips. We also have coming up a special video that I'm excited to create and post for you. We have ordered some. Last year we had a really bad aphid problem towards the end of the summer, and so I've researched a lot of ways to deal with the aphids and the white flies, and so we have come up with a solution that is beneficial in a lot of different ways. So stay tuned for that. I won't give it away. I'll keep it to myself. It's so hard for me to keep secrets, but I'll keep it to myself what that's going to be. But that should be, we should be receiving that in the next couple of days actually, and we'll be doing the video for that and releasing it soon. So y'all stay tuned for that. Y'all have a blessed day. It's a beautiful day here in Florida. 30-40% chance of rain, I think. That's what it was yesterday, and we never got a drop, so we'll see. But it's still beautiful out here this time of year. I love this time of year. It's not too hot yet. It's just in the 70s and 80s. That may be hot for some of y'all, but for Florida, 80s is comfortable weather. So thanks for joining me on the garden tour, and remember, do your best and let God do the rest. Bye-bye.